Dick Cheney not happy with the new proposals from Chuck Hagel and President Obama on the Defense Department. So they're proposing to reduce the size of the Army, the National Guard, the Marines, etc. Now it's to be part of an overall defense spending bill that the Republicans and Democrats have agreed to, but apparently Dick Cheney has not agreed to it. He's very livid about it. He says, first of all, the cuts are, quote, just devastating. No, I don't even know if we have a military anymore. Okay, now, of course, he's going to double down on that on Fox News Channel.
The fact of the matter is he's having a huge impact on the ability of future presidents to deal with future crises that are bound to arise. And I've told you, Sean, a story about right after Desert Storm when I was Secretary of Defense after we won. The first thing I did was call former President Reagan out in California and thank him for everything he'd done back in the 80s to build that magnificent force we had for Desert Storm. I can guarantee you there's never going to be a call from a future Secretary of Defense to Barack Obama to thank him for what he's done in the military. This is just devastating.
Devastating. I mean, we Republicans totally agreed to it, but I can't believe Obama would do this. And nobody's ever going to thank him for anything. By the way, what they're doing is they're making it a more agile force so that it can actually respond to the conflicts we're in, as opposed to the theoretical conflicts from World War II era, where we would get into huge ground wars, and we would need to do that in two different areas. We need the tanks, we need the things to destroy the tanks, etc. So if he's modernizing the military, yeah, there's an excellent chance that somebody would thank him for that. But not Dick Cheney. Everything Obama does is wrong. Everything that doesn't add tremendous fuel to the fire of more wars in the world is wrong by Dick Cheney standards. He's about to get dumber.
As he said when he went to Cairo on that famous apology tour back in 2009, he believed he apologized for our overreaction to the events of 9/11. And today he's fixing it in a way, in effect, where it's going to be almost impossible for future presidents to deal with that kind of situation.
Huh, that's interesting. Like, if we had a 9/11 on somebody's watch, it would be difficult to respond. Oh, if only Dick Cheney were in an administration when we could have responded to something like 9/11. Oh, right, you were. And what happened? They hit the Twin Towers. You guys were on break. Bush was at Crawford, took a month-long break. CIA said bin Laden's determined to attack, and he said, you covered your ass, now go home. You were there, Dick, and you didn't do anything about 9/11. You let it happen, and then afterwards said, oh, great, let's attack the wrong country. Oh my God, I wouldn't want Obama to limit the options of a future idiot Republican president to attack the wrong country after he was negligent and allowed the attack to happen in the first place. Thanks, Dick, for all your advice. We really appreciate it. Now, one more to go over the top.
History teaches any lesson. It's that the world's a safer, more stable place when the United States is strong and is prepared to use that strength when necessary. The way I read this, they're basically making the decision in the Obama administration that they no longer want to be dominant. And I think the whole thing is not driven by any change in world circumstances. It's driven by budget considerations. He'd much rather spend the money on food stamps than he would on a strong military or support for our troops.
Pretty frightening.
Yeah, pretty frightening. Yeah, a couple of things I love. They're driven by budget considerations. What happened? I thought Republicans cared so much about the budget. Now, of course, you remember Dick Cheney once famously told George Bush, deficits don't matter anymore. Then, of course, as soon as Bush left a $1.2 trillion deficit to Barack Obama, they turned around and said, can you believe Obama hasn't cured the deficit yet? And then when he goes to fix the deficit, they said, can you believe he's fixing the deficit? Thanks, Obama. Right? And then at the end there, I guess he'd rather give it in food stamps than in wars. Yeah, that sounds about right. You know, another liberal hippie agreed with me. The guy who helped to win World War II and then became president, Dwight D. Eisenhower, here's what he said. Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. Dick Cheney saw that and thought he meant that that's a good thing. Like, yeah, that's a theft from the guys who are hungry. Way to go, Dwight. I like Ike. I think you might have missed the point of that, Dick.